All right, so it's Sunday, May 18th. We had some pretty good storms come through last night. It's got our water through our little stream, rolling pretty good. Even got some like runoff coming here. Oh, it's still coming from the. Huh.
It's like coming out of the ground. That's crazy. Got water coming out of the ground.
Well, that's not really why I wanted to make this video. Storm, while we didn't have any trees fall down, we did get a lot of water came through. This wall held great. The grass has grown in, so there was still a lot of retention and not very much erosion. Something I'm glad. Now, this is how far up in the yard the water came last night. If you guys can see all that. So we did have a lot of water get up. You know, it was about 3 feet away from the stairs. So not the worst water we've ever had. I did not know the rain was going to be that bad, so the trailer luckily didn't get moved around in the storm at all. Got a lot of dirt up here, which is fine. That normally just kind of goes away. Those trees here, let's see if I can get all that. This was all stuff that got stuck under the bridge. So Reagan and the Harvey and Bishop pulled it all out on this side, and then right over there, let's see if I can get way zoomed in. That log had blocked off all of the water here, causing the water to go up over the bridge, which, you know, is fine, it's whatever. But what it did do is all of mine and Sarah's work of filling this in and building this retention wall kind of taken out. We did lose a whole layer of cement blocks right there. There's a good chance they're all just going to be in the river. We'll know more once it clears out. If they're there, I might just pull them up and maybe try to mortar them in place and see if that helps hold for the next time. But what I do know is over the next couple of days, I've got to get some truckloads of dirt, backfill this back in, see what we can find as far as the cement blocks go. And a lot of you might be thinking, well, they probably just fell in and that's where they're at. Probably not true. A while ago, we had built a little cement wall here to kind of just divert some of the water a different direction. I've got a water pipe that goes through there that in some parts are exposed, and we wanted to cover it up. Well, one of the storms that we had actually taken all of the cement bags that were there and sent them way, way down. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Like back there. And it kind of piled them up. Sometimes you can even see some of them are still there. That might be one right there in the center. But this is going to be at least a bed of dirt, a whole truck bed. I don't know what that is. It's 3 scoops of dirt, probably more. And then it might not look like we need as much because we're missing a whole layer of brick or cement. So maybe once we put that up there, we'll find out that we need more. Now this wall, this one is still holding up beautifully. And I think the saving grace for that was that we had so much grass growing on top that it's still in pristine condition, where this does not have anything growing yet. And so it was just a lot easier for the water to erode everything away. And it probably didn't help if it had broken some of these free and caused weak spots. So I think next time when we do this and we set these up, I'm gonna have to probably just fill this in with mortar or something to make this initial wall solid. So when the water hits, it's kind of broken off and diverted, and maybe it won't peel these cement bags up, and to bring it all up higher too. That's the other thing, is we didn't bring it up level with the other half of the yard. So that will be the next job. So how far up did the water come in on this side? Well, it did take my kids' little toy wheelbarrow, pushed it up against the truck. There's that branch right here in the center. That was under the truck. Didn't hit it or anything, but it was just sitting there. Let's start with this side. We've got all of this new fresh dirt that's been laid over here, lifted up the yard, kind of like that. But you can see over here, Reagan's basketball hoop is totally fine. You can see all of the sand that was put into the grass. I kind of like it because it helps level a little bit, you know, the sand fills in the low spots. But here is where that line is. It kind of travels down. This is as wide as I can get my screen. Oh, it's weird. Well, so that was all where the water came in. It comes back down. This all must have been pooling from the bridge getting plugged off. But maybe not. It does go back up this way too. All the mulch, or a lot of the mulch from our little island thing, is washed out. And how do I know? Because yesterday you couldn't see any of these stones. Just from other storms that we've had, it's kind of caused the mulch to like wash over the stones, so they really weren't exposed all that well. And now all of our little beautiful driveway stones are there. We can also see right about there is a line where everything's been washed out, so all the dirt underneath is exposed. We normally use this as a filling spot for anything we run through the wood chipper or anything we mulch up. We've just been putting it in this island to just build a good healthy dirt bed that we could eventually pull from, but unfortunately it always seems to get washed away whenever the bridge gets plugged off. So now we're going to go to the other side of the truck. I do like how the yard looks all clean. It's a different kind of clean that it looks, I guess. But right along here is where the water was still, the flooding had made it up to. And it almost looks like at my neighbor's yard is where it kind of finally was able to make its way down without really getting to, maybe it did get into his yard a little bit. But right along here is where you can see a lot of the debris got captured. So I wonder how much of that's from my little island, which is fine. I don't really mind. But yeah, we had a nice little, it almost fell in a hole. That needs to get filled in. So I do think this is what we saw earlier. That's a broken part of a cement bag. Right there. I'm pretty sure anyways. And then that's a cement bag. So they do get pushed pretty far. So zoom out if we can see. That's a cement bag. So, you know, the water moves these cement bags fairly easy if they're not secured better than really what we had. And look at this. So the camera's not going to do it justice, but this is all erosion that's happened over the years. This whole part of the wall was, I would say, almost 6 feet closer to me. This has all been washed out over time. Eventually I'd like to figure out how to build it back up. Same with right here. This whole area is about 6 feet of erosion taken out. I'd like to get that filled in one day, and I'm hoping cement bags would be the way to do it. I think it'd still be a good option. It's just going to take a lot of time and money. And this is a beautiful front yard and bridge. Let's get a better... Oh, what happened? It's blurry. There we go. So this is what I get to look at every day. See my little steps, little wall, my little walking bridge. The boys did a good job cleaning out. My washed out bank. I got to build that all back up. But yeah, this is awesome. Most of the time everything holds pretty good through the rain. We keep our trash can up there now because when we first moved in we didn't know how high the water got, and we used to keep the trash can next to this little mulberry tree thing, and then our trash can got washed away and we didn't have a trash can for like 2 months because it took forever to get one. But so now we keep it way up there, away from any kind of flooding. My beautiful truck, I keep that up there, not for any other reason than I like when the light shines on it, and I got the flag there, and so I have the light and the flag on my truck at night. Yeah, this is it. One thing though that kind of sucks after a storm as the water today has a very metallic, like blood smell. I don't know what causes that. Sometimes I think there's like poo runoff in the water. That's why we don't let the kids in it after rainstorms. But it's spring fed, so it does stay flowing all year round. After a storm, it's a little bit heavier flow. But this is one of my favorite things, is to just sit down here and listen to this. Let's take a little look at further down. We got time. We've already been 10 minutes. This camera doesn't have very good, I don't know what they call it, stabilization. It's got big jumps. Sarah's little yard thing almost got washed away. I think she had another one that might have got washed away. This thing's like all tilted over. Poor little yard bicycle. Alright, let's see what we got going on. The second stream is running pretty good. This is another little flow that comes from further up. Also, it's beautiful. It's pretty, it's quiet. I'm glad it's kind of opened up, because it's been, the plants all grew in, and it was really almost disappeared, where you couldn't tell if there was anything there. You just saw that the water kind of went and then ended. But there was definitely a lot of washout this time. None of these rocks were here yesterday, day before. This is all new cut through right there. Same with whatever. This looks like a piece of plywood that's in the, yeah, it's plywood. So it's a piece of plywood. This is all pretty awesome. The water's flowing so beautifully right now. I love it. I always do like to come out and look for new shapes that have happened in the stream, because it does happen. A lot of this has changed from when we initially moved in. And actually, if I can go back to my Lumix, my first Lumix video where we got the baby ducks. The baby ducks were swimming right in here. And I would like to say that all of this was all filled in. None of this was exposed. This was all filled in all the way down. The stream was maybe 6 foot wide at max. And now it's closer to, I would say, 10 or 12 feet wide. This little cutout is definitely deeper in now. Our original campfire. So this is all opened up, much bigger. Our original campfire, like spot, so we had a little fire pit and we'd kind of camp out and hang out and have dinners, was here, and there was sitting space all behind it. That's all gone. Garbage that was in the rivers here. Yeah, this was all used to come out another 6 feet or so. This big stone, these stone, wow. So much of this is different. Dude, these big stones. Holy crap, that had to be so much water. Straight back in here goes into an entrance to an old mine. This was like the little carve out that takes you straight into it, and it's all still shaped in there. We don't go mess around with that because it's filled in and it's full of water. But I'm actually most shocked about the rocks. All of these big giant rocks were pushed up. They were meant to, as far as I can tell, they were meant to slow the water down from causing more erosion, which they probably did a fantastic job. But these are all moved. These are strange. And look, the vines are all pulled down, so it's captured and pulled all of this stuff this way. Very interesting. Yeah, the water came all up here. This is all debris from the last bit of storms that we've had since, I don't know, February. Just tons and tons of wood that's got to get cut. We cleared all this off last fall, and the springtime the vines are bringing it all up, so we got to pull all that stuff down before it overgrows again. Very interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting back some of my yard from what's been overgrown. Now, part of this area is not mine. There's a telephone pole up there is the edge of my property, and it cuts back to another telephone pole there, and then up to the next driveway. So there's another telephone pole here and goes back. So I do have part of this, but some of this belongs to the neighbor. We tend to take care of a bit of it back that way to keep it open, because we used to have a lot of coyotes would come in through here and attack our chickens. So we keep more of that open. That way we can be aware when they're around for, you know, as much as you're able to. But look at this. This is, yeah, look at all this wood. I mean, that's a whole rotted up tree. All kinds of just branches, tons and tons of stuff that we've got to either start burning or chopping up into smaller bits and then burn. That tree over here, it's still even got a tow strap on it from when we had to pull it out of the river. That's normally what ends up happening is they get stuck down the river. They're too heavy to pick up because they're water laden. So we just pull them out with the truck. I love it. Yeah, this was an unexpected amount of water that we got last night. I tell you what, I did not know. I didn't know any of this happened. I was actually sleeping, and then my kids get up and they say, "Daddy, your brick wall's partially washed away." And I was like, "What?" So, yeah, that was the storm. And it must not have lasted very long. I don't know. Just a whole lot of water came through. All right, well, if you've watched all 17 minutes of this, thanks for hanging out, checking out my property with me after this big old storm. So if you got any do-it-yourself suggestions on how to keep this from washing out next time when the water comes up and over, I think I just really is going to be dependent on building this wall a little bit higher and securing the front face that takes the brunt impact of the water, and then making sure we've got a good root base. As we can tell, some of what we had planted was taking root. It just wasn't strong enough to withstand the rushing water like it did with the grass. So we're gonna have to build this up and seed with grass right away. Hopefully something that's got some deep rooting grass roots, however you would want to word that. All right, ciao.